clicking past, ain't feeling his hymn. Waiting for the moment, blow up like a piston. Haters gonna hate, but persistence gonna glisten. Hold tight, 20 turn 200 someday. Laugh in their face, shouting, who wants some pay? Roper Show.
Anytime now. There you go. What up, Twitch? What up, Larry? What up, Cosmic? What up, Old Lobster? What up, bots? What up, lurkers? What up, tiny people in my chatterino? Moving a little slow today. 7 hours in a row is a bit much. So, but it was worth it. It was worth it. I hope that those of you who were here yesterday thought it was worth it. We also, what you call it? If you haven't seen the video or the video, 3 hour. We're gonna talk about that a little bit. If you haven't seen the 3 hour video, I highly recommend that you do. Give me 1 second. Here, that's what we're going to talk about, Larry. Here's the link if you haven't seen it. It is 3 hours, 10 minutes, so, you know, you might want to break it into parts or what have you, but it is, in spite of some people's reaction to it, it is well researched. All right. What up, humanity? What does my hat mean? Sons of the Desert. Sons of the Desert is my friends and I, we played Star Wars Galaxies, and the initial group of us was all Wookiees, and we were Wookiees on Tatooine, and so we were like the orphans of the desert. So it's Sons of the Desert. And then this is a safe pin, right? I don't want to pull it out. Like you're safe with me kind of thing. And then I have safety pin right here, you know, indicating that same kind of thing. I understand that you know, some people consider the whole safety pin thing a little performative or whatever. But as a cis het presenting 6 foot 250 dude, you know, I'm just if you need somebody to watch your back, I'm your guy. Yep. Stampy is down there. Morning, Reed. Let's talk about poor Alex. If you go to that video, or if you go to Alex's Blue Sky, Alex is getting, and I want to point out that the people who pop off on social media are loud. It doesn't necessarily indicate that they are numerous, right? Usually the people who pop off on social media are a small number of loud people. It's super fucking reactionary, dude. It is super fucking reactionary. When I look at people's behaviors, they ignore, they obfuscate, they, like the number of people who like counter the video with statements that are addressed in the video it just tells me that, yeah, y'all watched like the first 5-10 minutes and then um you know came on social media to pop off. And and I say this as someone who puts AI related videos onto YouTube and has gotten those kind of responses, right? Like, I know what the average watch time is. And I know the people who, like, I can see the numbers. It's all in front of you. And so I can see the number of people who actually watch to the end of the video. And it's not, conducive to the number of people who are, telling me to go fuck myself. Basically, Cosmic, I would say that there was some interesting new information. Generally the video was, if you took, a distillation of the last 2.5 years of this stream and put it into a single video, that's what was there. We joked at the end, like I was memeing about how Alex is watching the show, right? Like, that's the thing. But no, Alex, I assume the nickel group, that was huge, right? That was huge. I assume Alex had the same information available to them, and in looking through all that same information, came to similar conclusions, generally speaking, right? Which is ideally what you would expect in that type of scenario, right? Like, you want people to come to the same conclusions that you do, based on the same information, right? But on their own journey. And that's, again, generally speaking, what I think Alex did. And yeah, they're hurling all the slings and arrows like that. Did he what? Or I don't know if they're a he or a they. So I'm going to refer to them as a they until I hear otherwise. Well, yeah, there was the thing about. Honestly, Cosmic, I can't tell you exactly what they are right now because, as I said, I'm beat to shit and I did 7 hours yesterday. So if you want a rehash of yesterday's video, then I'm going to tell you to go on the YouTube, go to the section where we start talking about the video, and turn up the speed to 1.5 and watch it again. Because I give you the commentary in that video. If you want me to do it for you now, then you're asking me to do more labor than I agreed to do. Okay? It was huge, and some people really, really didn't like that part. And the person behind that lawsuit, supported by the Nickel Group, had a whole big thread back at Alex. Oh, I didn't even see that. I just saw, like, I was just looking through, and it was a lot, and I could see the whole thing. And it's like, it's tough, right? Some of you know the Midnight Minute, member of the community. Minute used to do similar content to what I do, right? Like, they came before me, and they took a lot of abuse and ended up not wanting to do this anymore. And that's fucking fair. And I actually messaged Alex and, indicated some support, and that I hope that this does not cause them to not release part 2, right? Like, because this is very stressful. It's very stressful to have. It's very stressful that, like, you spend your time and you gather information, and collect it up. If you search, oh, there it is. Never mind, hold on. They are on Blue Sky. And okay, apparently I can't use an at unless they're actually a person. That's their it's not actually a link. I think I spelled that correctly. It's alexander-avila.bluesky or bsky.social. Go check them out on Blue Sky, you know, et cetera, et cetera. They, what was it, Oscar Wilde? I think it was Oscar Wilde. Something along the lines of. Oscar Wilde. If you want to tell people the truth, make them laugh. Otherwise, they'll kill you. Right? Oscar Wilde, who was featured in the video. See? Synergy. Uh, it's something. It is something. Um, so anyways, yeah. I think I was talking about Minute. Minute bailed on doing, and I don't mean that in any negative sense, right? Again, this is hard, right? It's hard enough. Like, if you haven't done streaming, and I'm not doing the Hassan thing and et cetera, et cetera. It's a lot of work, right? Imagine it's like the thing that I can compare it most to is like customer service, right? That kind of job experience where you go and you sit at a desk and you have to be on and and do the thing and be engaging and friendly and all that kind of shit. And in doing so, it can take a lot out of you, right? Like, people sometimes forget that, right? People sometimes forget that customer service jobs are hard too. Tech support jobs are hard too. Sitting at a desk all day is hard too, right? As someone who's done both inside and outside work, you know what I mean? And one of the things that's hardest about doing that work is people giving you shit, you know? Like, it's a lot harder to um to do your job when you're dealing with people who are unhappy all day. And all you're trying to do is provide people with the information that they need. And they want to beat you up. They are angry. Because things are other than as they would like them. I don't know. I hope that Alex does part 2. I hope that they can weather this particular storm. I hope that there are people who support them. You know, again, I reached out and said something, but I'm just some random fucking guy on the internet. How they have people closer to them who can give them that emotional support that they need. And if you actually like, it, you know, you're a fan of Curtis Yarvin, and you know, like, and Megan Alex justify themselves, um, again and again and again after like there's the fucking video. What up, nerds? What up, Maddie? Anyways, yeah, no, like Godwin's law, right? Like they, I don't even know. And the one person was referring to was Scott Alexander, and I don't know if the Scott Alexander that they're referring to is the same Scott Alexander that is indicated in the links in the, you know, because it's sourced, right? Alex Avila. We watched a 3 hour video yesterday. AI Wars. This one. Highly recommend that you watch it if you can. Alex needs all the support that they can get right now. And yeah, like, and then I'm even looking at some of the things that people are posting, right? They're posting images of like Wikipedia pages or whatever with highlighted sections. And one of the pieces of evidence that they used to damn Alex was that this Scott Alexander person allegedly said something along the idea is that they wanted to, you know, like basically the free market of ideas, right? Like, which, you know, you can understand what that means, but like at the same time, it's like a lot of normies want a free market of ideas, right? You have to go through some layers in order to get people to understand that not all ideas are equal, right? Um, but there are a lot of people, a lot of well-meaning people, right? A lot of well-meaning people. I'm not talking about the ones who like, you know, platform Nazis and shit and try to, you know, hand wave any people calling them out for that bullshit. But I'm talking about like, I'm talking about some well-meaning people who want to try and like pull people back from that far right, um you know, that far right pipeline. And they're well, again, they're well-meaning. I don't think they should do it, right? Like I think that there is a um that again, to get people out of a particular mindset like that requires you to, you know, have a certain amount of education and a certain amount of experience, and then a set and setting and that's conducive to that. And the internet is not conducive to that, right? Like I am not someone as being a streamer who can like pull people out of the right wing pipeline or any of that shit, right? Like that's just, it's beyond the capacity of what this environment is capable of doing. Um, but I've seen people that I know, like they were not, you know, trying to like just capitalize off this thing, but they actually gave a shit about people. And like it's just hard. It's just very very hard. But they were well-meaning people, right? That's the point. People sometimes jump to conclusions that, you know, the acts are intentional. Poor Alex. Anyways, I've been meandering for a half an hour because my brain is fried from yesterday, but I got some news, and we should do some news. We're gonna start off with our friends at the Register. Some signs of model collapse begin to reveal themselves. Stephen J. Von Nichols. Prediction. Okay. Does everyone understand what prediction means? A prediction, right? A thing predicted. Forecast, right? Like a prediction that the Greeks would destroy the Persian Empire. Like you are making a declarative statement that the following would occur. That is what a prediction is, right? And then Steven here, general purpose AI could start getting worse. So this is not a prediction. I mean, because you put qualifiers in there, right? You put weasel words in there. The only issue with the video was it seems to me that Alex doesn't think AGI is possible with this tech because it can't understand communicative intent. I don't know that that's the case. I know that the people that Alex interviewed felt that way. And I feel like if I'm recalling what I saw correctly, it was that Alex, like steelman their position and validated their position. I don't know that they endorsed it explicitly, right? It is possible, right? And it's not an entirely unreasonable point of view because we talked about the idea of embodied AI, right? And both the two authors that Alex spoke with and that other guy whose name fucking escapes me, but they both seem to be like on that verge of talking about like you need to embody the AI into the robot so that it can understand the world by being in the world, right? The AIs as they currently exist, exist mostly in simulation and lack a lot of the details that come from existing in meat space. And as embodiment of AI improves, we should see that gap narrow because they are able to interact with the world. One of the things that some of the authors do, right, the snake oil people and the AI comp people, they seem to talk about it as a frozen state, right? Like that AI can never do thing because AI is not right, like not embodied. And because it's not embodied, it will never be embodied. Well, that's not the case, right? Like that's the whole point of what Figure and some of these other companies are trying to do is they're attempting to embody the AI within meat space. And that's a wholly human kind of thing. And maybe I'm misinterpreting there, right? There's a lot riding on it can't understand meaning. Absolutely. And I feel like, and we brought this up a couple of times during the video, I feel like by the end of that video, we had pointed to a few different moments within the script, where it seemed to indicate that there is an understanding, emergent understanding of meaning. What up, Link for Hunter? AI good for info sometime lol. It depends on how you prompt it. It's a tool. If you use it properly, it's quite good. If you use it improperly, it can give you a bad time. Steven says, opinion. I use AI a lot, but not to write stories. I use AI for search. When it comes to search, AI, especially Perplexity, is simply better than Google. Ordinary search has gone to the dogs. Maybe as Google goes gaga for AI, its search engine will get better again, but I doubt it. It's good that you said this is your opinion, because then you can just say whatever you want. In just the last few months, I've noticed that AI-enabled search too has been getting crappier. Google goes gaga for AI. Yeah. If you say so, Manny. Again, I don't understand why my experience is different from other people's, but I literally use Google all the time. There is, I mean, if we're talking before AI, SEO is like the worst thing that happened to search, but because SEO was a thing that happened and there was nothing I could do about it, I just adapted. Like, I don't even think about it, right? SEO is dog shit, but like, I just skirt right past it. I will never use another Perplexity product after their position on privacy. Nice alliteration. I know not everyone cares, but they have zero morals about using any of your data for any reason and then selling it. Yeah, no, I mean, that's fair, right? Like, you are a strong privacy advocate. You advocate for people using the data deletion stuff, protecting yourself as much as you can, et cetera, et cetera. So that's in line with, that. Yeah, I don't know. I use Google all the time. And it's is it better or worse than something else? I don't know, because like it's all the same. It's all the same to me, right? Like I don't know, like when I Google something, I Google is like a bucket, right? And if you've ever gone to the beach and taken a bucket and scooped up a bunch of pretty rocks, or a bunch of rocks, not all of them are pretty, because that's subjective, and then like sorted through the rocks to find the rocks that you liked, that is how I have engaged with Google and search in general for quite some time. It's just a thing that I do, right? Like I don't think about it. There could be again, a better beach, a better bucket, a better set of rocks, but these are the rocks I got, and I just go. To be fair, I'm working on ungoogling my life. I've recently been looking into dumb phones, but the biggest issue is banking. There's a video. Whoop, there's a video that I've been meaning to get to. I'm just a bill, just an ordinary bill, sitting on Capitol Hill. And I, again, I don't know anything about this video other than the fact that it exists. Um, and I'll give you the link. I don't know. It's got 88,000 views. Why that number? Becca Farsace. Are minimal phones a scam? Right? And I don't know. Right? Like I'm giving you nothing other than the video, because we haven't had a chance to get to it, because there's so much. I really thought we were going to get to more content yesterday. Ever hopeful. No, it's fine, dude. My brain, this is the game we play. In particular, I'm finding that when I search for hard data, such as market share statistics, this is as far as I read, right? Um, because I just wanted to see, was it worth getting into? And I felt that this was important. In particular, I'm finding that when I search, yes, Reed, we should on our own time. I'm finding that when I search for hard data, such as market share statistics or other business numbers, the results often come from bad sources. Instead of stats from 10Ks, these U.S. Security and Exchange Commission's mandated annual business financial reports for public companies, I get numbers from sites purporting to be summaries of business reports. This is SEO. They're complaining about SEO, right? These bear some resemblance to reality, but they're never quite right, okay? If I specify I want only 10K results, it works. Okay. So this is what killed me, right? If I just ask for financial results, the answers get interesting. It's like, well, yeah, but this is not AI. This is SEO. And if you specify what you want, if you actually ask for what you want, then you get what you want. And you're mad about it to the point where you're writing an article in the Register. Yeah, and at the pharmacist, they usually have those, right? Like there's when a first alert type button situations, and then a jitterbug. Jitterbug is like the you know, the elder phone. It isn't just Perplexity. I've done the exact same searches on all major AI search bots, and they all give me questionable results. Unless you specify that you want specific, information. But that's the AI's fault, I guess. Welcome to Garbage In, Garbage Out. Formerly in AI circles, this is known as AI model collapse. In an AI model collapse, AI systems, which are trained on their own output, gradually lose accuracy, diversity, reliability. Yes, but this is not AI model collapse. Brand new iPhone, sheet score for free. Nice job, Nana. Yeah, so there's an arc of infantilization that happens, right? Children are infantilized, and then eventually we decide arbitrarily as parents and aunts and uncles and everything else that the child has reached a point where they can now be treated more like an adult, and that usually comes in gradually, and then they have their entire life, and then there comes a point where like we begin to look at our elders and the super elders as people who are incapable of keeping up with any of this stuff, and it actually tends to not be the case. We're probably doing them a disservice by doing it, right? Like if you want to keep people sharp, they need brain stuff to work on, right? Like that's how that works. And by taking away, by giving them the simpler phone as opposed to giving them something that allows them to do more stuff. I mean, I went to a Quest, right? The blood test people, and there were like everyone in there had to be like 20 years older than me, and they all had their phones out. They're fine. Just give it to them, and this is the thing, is that like the children, um the complainer on the children is that the the phones, the tablets, etc., they're super intuitive. You just start pushing buttons and things happen. If that's the case, then yes, give it to your elders and your super elders, right? Let them go on on Reddit. Just teach him to detect the shit that's gonna get him in trouble. All right. Fucking model collapse. This occurs because errors compound across successive model generations, leading to distorted data distributions and irreversible defects in performance. The final result, a Nature 2024 paper stated, the model becomes poisoned by its own projection of reality. And I believe Stable Diffusion, yes. So this is an example again of the effect where someone says something one time and then people will continue to make content out of it forever, right? So I'm trying to impress on my aunt. She doesn't need to call me to figure it out. Half of getting familiar with things is just tinkering around and learning how things work through mistakes. Make sure they understand that, like, you know, there's a factory reset button, right? You can't fuck this up. You know, if you screw up, if you delete something, we can get it back. If if you seriously screw up, we'll just factory reset the phone, right? Like, it's not a problem. It'll be okay. So yeah, this is the article that we covered ad nauseum. And even in here, we demonstrate that it must be taken seriously if we are to sustain the benefits of training from large-scale data scraped from the web. The value of data collected about genuine human interactions with system will be increasingly valuable under these conditions. And what was found was that you can take the data that's output by the models that you want to train the models on and curate it, right? I mean, yeah, that's just teaching basic web security. So yeah. Model collapse is the result of three different factors. The first is error accumulation, in which each model generation inherits and amplifies flaws from the previous versions, causing outputs to drift from original data patterns. This is true. Like, this is correct. Excuse me. Next, there's the loss of tail data. In this, rare events are erased from training data, and eventually, entire concepts are blurred. This is like the distribution trends towards the mean, right? So the outliers get sanded off, all the rough edges get sanded off, and then you end up with this kind of like neutral middle. Finally, feedback loops reinforce narrow patterns. They can, yes, creating repetitive text or biased recommendations. I like how the AI company Aquant puts it. In simpler terms, when AI is trained on its own outputs, the results can drift further away from reality. Again, you have to curate the data. You have to curate the data from that which is, scraped off the internet. Right? All data must be curated in order to get best results. I'm not the only one seeing AI results start to go downhill. In a recent Bloomberg research study of RAG, Retrieval Augmented Generation, the financial media giant found that 11 leading LLMs, including GPT 4o, 3.5 Sonnet, Llama 3.8b, using over 5,000 So they did a study and they used over 5,000 harmful prompts into 11 LLMs. And it turned out, shocker, brace yourself, it turned out that when you use over 5,000 harmful prompts, you get bad results. this is how I feel. Like, and this is how I felt going on Alex's Blue Skies. Like, people, I don't even know what's going on anymore, man. Everyone is kind of like defining their own set of reality and defending it to the death. RAG, for those of you who don't know, enables large language models to pull in information from external stores. No emotes to show my emotion. External knowledge stores such as databases, documents, and live in-house data stores rather than just relying on the LLM's pre-trained knowledge. You think RAG would produce better results, wouldn't you? And it does. Great. For example, it tends to reduce AI hallucinations, but simultaneously, it increases the chance that RAG-enabled LLMs will leak private client data, creating misleading market analysis and produce biased investment advice. Huh? You're just making shit up, dude. As Amanda Stent, Bloomberg's head of AI strategy and research in the office of the CTO, explained, this counterintuitive finding has far-reaching implications given how ubiquitously RAG is used in Gen AI applications, such as customer support agents and question answering systems. The average internet user interacts with RAG-based systems daily. AI practitioners need to be thoughtful about how to use RAG responsibly. Yes. What exactly are bad results? Sorry you asked. Understanding and mitigating risks of generative AI in financial systems. I just love how they make a declarative statement here, right? And then like the papers are always more nuanced than the people citing the papers, because that's the way scientists work. To responsibly develop generative AI products, it's critical we define the scope of acceptable inputs and outputs. What constitutes a safe response is an actively debated question. Academic work puts an outsized focus on evaluating models by themselves for general purpose aspects such as toxicity, bias, and fairness, especially in conversational applications being used by a broad audience. In contrast, less focus is put on considering socio-technical systems in specialized domains. Yet, those specialized systems can be subject to extensive and well understood legal and regulatory scrutiny. These product specific considerations need to be set in industry specific laws, regulations, and corporate governance requirements. In this paper, here we go, we aim to highlight AI content safety considerations specific to the financial services domain and outline what an associated AI content risk taxonomy. We compare this taxonomy to existing works in this space and discuss implications of risk category violations on various stakeholders. We evaluate how existing open source technical guardrail solutions cover this taxonomy by assessing them on data collected via red teaming activities. Our results demonstrate that these guardrails fail to detect most of the content risks we discuss. And then you can go look at it. Do 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 do. So then this is the thing. All right, where was I? It sounds good, but a responsible AI user is an oxymoron. Game. Right? I now understand the context of the entire article that we're looking at. That sounds good, but a responsible AI user is an oxymoron. For all the crap about how AI will encourage us to spend more time doing better work, the truth is AI users write fake papers, including bullshit results. This ranges from your kid's high school report to fake scientific research documents to the infamous Chicago Sun-Times Best of Summer feature, which included forthcoming novels that don't exist. What up, Pharaoh? What all this does is accelerate the day when AI will become worthless. For example, when I asked ChatGPT what's the plot of Min Jin Lee's forthcoming novel Nightshade Market, one of the fake novels, ChatGPT confidently replied there is no publicly available information regarding the plot of Min Jin Lee's forthcoming novel Nightshade Market. While the novel has been announced, details about its storyline have not been disclosed. So, once more, and with feeling, Geigo. The Geigo is your shitty ass prompt. Again, I can trace most of people's issues using AI and bad outputs to their shitty ass prompts. I'm sorry. If you're getting bad results, your prompts are shit. Some researchers argue that collapse can be mitigated by mixing synthetic data with fresh human generated content. What a cute idea. Where is that human generated content going to come from? Right? This is all this was a setup. I use AI a lot. A responsible AI user is an oxymoron. What up, beef? Send the children to the content mine. Given a choice between good content that requires real work and study to produce and AI slop, I know what most people will do. It's not just some kid wanting a B on their book report of John Steinbeck's The Pearl. It's businesses eager, they claim, to gain operational efficiency, but really wanting to fire employees to increase profits. Okay, so your issue is capitalism. Quality, please get real. We're going to invest more and more in AI right up until the point that model collapse hits hard. This is a bubble burst. This is a bubble burst. And AI answers are so bad, even a brain dead CEO can't ignore it. Honestly, with how brain rotted some of the younger generation could be, I'm more inclined to tip the scale in favor of synthetic data. I mean, you were here. You were here, right? Alex gives us some hope for the new generation. The bubble has burst. Not the bubble. How long will it take? I think it's already happening, but so far I seem to be the only one calling it. Ed Zitron, is this you, baby? Still, if we believe OpenAI's leader and cheerleader, Sam Altman, who tweeted in February of 24, so a year ago, OpenAI now generates about 1 billion words per day, and we presume many of those words end up online. It won't take long. I, I, I don't have an opinion on the older and younger generations' reactions to AI based on their age. I think it has everything to do with what circles you run in, right? Who Who are you to wave your finger? Must have been out of your head. I think that it has to do with, what kind of community you keep and how strict their purity testing is, right? And that's indicative of discourse about AI on social media. People are absolutely comfortable with comfortable lies and lying to support their position on the internet, right? This is not unusual. You can literally find that in most political circles. People are relatively unwilling to challenge those ideas and um and make sure that that their opinions have a basis in factual reality and are correct, right? Um Most people would rather be right than correct. And I'm not just talking about the anti-AI people. I'm talking about the pro AI people, right? Pro AI people are absolutely the fucking worst. They like they just don't know how to talk to human beings. And that's a huge issue. You have to understand, you have to define a goal when you're going in to talk to people, especially when they might not agree with you. Um of how you want this conversation to go, and what are you trying to accomplish here, baby? Yes, Larry, they usually are. That is true. Human development in the age of AI. Nice segue. A conversation with UNDP's Pedro. I feel like that's uh, Portuguese and not Spanish. Conceição. I'm going to call him Pedro. A conversation about this year's Human Development Report, a matter of choice, people and the possibility in the age of AI. To mark the release of the 2024-2025 Human Development Report, Dr. Diego Salama, head of partnerships and communications, sat down with Pedro, director of the Human Development Report Office at UNDP, for a wide ranging conversation about this year's theme, a matter of choice, people and possibilities in the age of AI. This year's report explores how AI, while transformative, must be shaped and governed by collective agency. As Pedro puts it, AI is not just a technical challenge, but a social and political one. We must not cede agency to governments or tech leaders. Reclaiming choice is essential to how we harness AI for human development. Do you see how this relates to Alex's video, right? Like this is the same concept, and this is, Pedro here is Pedro here is probably not a shill for AI, for big AI. So Pedro offered several key reflections. AI must be people centered. Its impact will depend less on the technology itself and more on the institution, incentives, and governance systems we put in place. This is standard, right? This is standard for anything. Anything, right? Like the institutions, incentives, and governance systems that we have in place direct all of our everything. A lot of the anti AI reaction stems from that age old liberal arts versus STEM rivalry, which has much less of an effect on people pre college age. Yeah, that's true. Um, And also that rivalry, like most rivalries, is kind of dumb. Because the correct answer is, why not both? Right? Cross-disciplinary. Inequalities in AI access are shrinking, but asymmetries in power remain. While AI tools like ChatGPT are spreading rapidly, even in low and middle income countries, the global governance and training data behind those tools remain concentrated in the global north. The report calls for a more equitable and inclusive digital infrastructure. AI can expand capabilities, but only if used wisely. The report urges governments and educators to view AI not as a replacement for human expertise, but as a complement that enhances productivity, critical thinking, and personalized learning. So, my man Pedro says that AI can enhance critical thinking, contrary to some of the articles that you probably have read. Global cooperation is essential in the context of UN 80 and a shifting multilateral landscape. Pedro emphasized the importance of initiatives like the Global Digital Compact as frameworks for inclusive AI governance. The conversation also reflected on the role of institutions like UNU Merit. As Pedro noted, research from UNU Merit has long shaped UNDP thinking, particularly its emphasis on the role of institutions, production systems, and innovation ecosystems in mediating the effects of technology. Shout out Pedro. Oh no, it does. It does. But it's really one of those arbitrary things that people construct because on one hand, like for the liberal arts folks, the easiest example I can draw, on the liberal arts side you have the sociologist, and on the STEM side you have the data scientist. The data scientist sociologist collab is the most natural collab there is in that I can think of, right? Like they need each other and they should be working together in that process. And instead, it's beef. Article from UC San Diego today. AI creeps closer to human agency. AI systems are getting smarter. Will this technology eventually undermine our sense of who we are as humans? Can we develop AI safely in ways that augment our capabilities rather than overshadow them? As both a philosopher and data scientist, David Danks, like David Danks, philosopher, which is liberal arts, and data scientist, which is STEM. David is the one. You are the Kwisatz Haderach. David Danks is at the nexus of these big questions. He takes an interdisciplinary approach to these complex queries in the School of Arts and Humanities and School of Computing, Information, and Data Sciences. A large portion of his work is made possible by grants from federal agencies, which had offered him the freedom to innovate. We recently spoke with Danks about the potentials and hazards of AI autonomy, as well as the unique contributions this technology can make in fields like emergency triage and mental illness treatments. Let me see. What fascinates you about AI? We're developing AI systems that can act in the world and thereby dramatically impact it, but without being mediated through a human. I think that raises a host of challenging ethical, social, psychological questions about who we are as humans. We remain the most autonomous beings on this planet, but this technology is getting better fast, approaching real agency. Sometimes AI is perceived as magic, but it's just code. I'm interested in the ways AI can help augment or expand what we're capable of by providing methods that are additive to what we're already doing. Rather than replacing us, I'm exploring ways this technology can help us achieve things we could never do before. What are two examples? For people who suffer from schizophrenia, there's a long-standing belief that something has gone awry in the wiring of their brains. We have abundant neuroimaging data from fMRI scans, but how do we figure out which parts of the brain influence other parts of the brain, and how do we connect this with people's mental health? By using AI, we're trying to discern the underlying mechanisms in the brains of individuals who have been diagnosed with schizophrenia. The project, which is supported by a grant from the National Institute of Mental Health, is intended to improve targeted treatments. Another project I'm working on explores the potential for AI to support triage decisions in situations where mass medical care is needed, like on a battlefield. My role is focused on ethical and policy considerations, thinking about whether and how AI can contribute to complex decision making that involves human values. For instance, when disaster strikes, you don't have enough people to lead relief efforts, or if the person in charge is not experienced in triage, then could AI assist these kind of rapid determinations that have life or death consequences? This work is funded by DARPA because, of course, it is. What up, one guy? Some argue that developing AI with safety in mind hinders its innovation. What are your thoughts? It's simply not the case. There's ample research that shows introducing constraints, whether regulation or otherwise, increases innovation. And right now, we have no regulation or governance, so we're nowhere near the point that it would become problematic for progress. What up, Michael? Yes, DNA is just biological code. Ultimately, we're innovating because we want something better, and the very idea of better should have safety baked in. What's the point of creating something that's going to harm people? Safe AI practice is based on good design, and that requires a little extra time up front, but it will lead to cheaper, faster development later. If you've got a good design, you're already most of the way to building a safe system. Humans are also not magic. This is true. Growing a tiny kittens are fucking adorable. Yeah. Yep. Yep. Self-trained vision transformers mimic human gaze with surprising precision from the University of Osaka. Again, artificial intelligence is a worldwide development project. So claiming somehow that companies like OpenAI and Google are the only ones doing this and they are the thing is such, oh my god, dude. People people are exhausting. Um yeah, no. I'm putting that in the memory box and it's somebody else's issue, but holy shit. Anyways, comparison of gaze coordinates between human participant and what? Something. Can machines ever see the world as we see it? Researchers have uncovered compelling evidence that vision transformers, a type of deep learning model that specializes in image analysis, can spontaneously develop human-like visual attention patterns when trained without labeled instructions. Visual attention is the mechanism by which organisms or artificial intelligence filter out visual noise to focus on the most relevant parts of an image or view. While natural for humans, spontaneous learning is proven difficult for AI. However, researchers have revealed in their recent publication in Neural Networks that with the right training experience, AI can spontaneously acquire human like visual attention without being explicitly taught to do so. The research team from the University of Osaka compared human eye tracking data to attention patterns generated by VITs using DINO, self distillation with no labels, a method of self supervised learning that allows models to organize visual information without annotated data sets. Remarkably, the DINO trained VITs exhibit a gaze behavior that closely mirrors that of typically developing adults when viewing dynamic video clips. In contrast, VITs trained with conventional supervised learning show unnatural visual attention. Our models didn't just attend to visual scenes randomly, they spontaneously developed specialized functions. One subset of the model consistently focused on faces, another captured the outlines of entire figures, and a third attended primarily to background features. This closely reflects how human visual systems segment and interpret scenes. That is fucking wild. That is wild. What makes this result remarkable is that these models were never told what a face is, yet they learned to prioritize faces, probably because doing so maximized the information gained from their environment. It's a compelling demonstration that self supervised learning may capture something fundamental about how intelligent systems, including humans, learn from the world. That is wild, dude. Who are you to know out of your head? I hold deep in muddy water. Raise the dead. At Amazon, some coders say their jobs have begun to resemble warehouse work. Pushed to use artificial intelligence, software developers at the e-commerce giant say they must work faster and have less time to think. Others welcome the shift. Since at least the Industrial Revolution, workers have worried that machines would replace them. But when technology transformed automaking, meatpacking, and even secretarial work, the response typically wasn't to slash jobs and reduce the number of workers. It was to degrade the jobs, breaking them into simpler tasks to be performed over and over at a rapid clip. Small shops of skilled mechanics gave way to hundreds of workers spread across an assembly line. The personal secretary gave way to pools of typists and data entry clerks. The workers complained of speed up, work intensification, and work degradation, as the labor historian Jason Resnikoff described it. Something similar appears to be happening with artificial intelligence in one of the fields where it has been most widely adopted: coding. As AI spreads through the labor force, many white collar workers have expressed concerns that it would lead to mass unemployment. But while unemployment has ticked up and widespread layoffs might eventually come, I don't know what you mean. CLRA? I don't know what a CLRA is. Jobless. The more immediate downside for software engineers appear to be a change in the quality of their work. Some say it's becoming much more routine, less thoughtful, and crucially, much faster paced. There's a clear showing of AI de-skilling people. No. Even if they were like, and you might be correct that the people are being de-skilled if it follows a similar trend to what was indicated up here. But this is not AI de-skilling people. This is capitalism de-skilling people, right? Degrading their work. Companies seem to be persuaded that, like assembly lines of old, AI can increase productivity. Recent paper by researchers at Microsoft and 3 universities found that programmers' use of an AI coding assistant called Copilot, which proposes snippets of code that they can accept or reject, increased a key measure of output by more than 25%. At Amazon, which is making big investments in generative AI, do you remember when I told you that? Right? I told you what my friend told me, and it appears to be happening. At Amazon, which is making big investments in generative AI, the culture of coding is changing rapidly. It is, in his recent letter to shareholders, Andy Jassy, chief executive, wrote that generative AI was yielding big returns for companies that use it for productivity and cost avoidance. Cost avoidance. Gorgeous. Fascinating word. How dare I pass on? I will attempt to provide you with only slop and conjecture and rage from now on, Pharaoh. How about that? Um, and I will also chew my toenails. If you could magically take capitalism out of the picture, AI would still be skilling people. No, because if you remove the profit motive from the situation, then it would be a question of it being efficiency driven, right? Um, but under that efficiency drive, it is mitigated. If you look at it in the terms of something like a co-op, um, the person would be required to do a certain amount of code production, right? And assuming, assuming nothing else changes, and we just convert all the businesses from like the current, shareholder driven capitalist model to a co-op model, which is still relatively capitalist in its relationship to other things, but the workers would own the means of production and et cetera, and that's an entirely other conversation to be had. But um the workers would collectively determine their outputs. So if a person did want to do more work and increase productivity and work the same number of hours but produce more code, then they would receive more compensation, right? They could just as easily not do that. The de-skilling is because what the companies are trying to do, again, similar to the way like if you've ever seen the way that shoes are made, this is a classic example in the discussion of automation in the workplace. um yeah, Pharaoh. um it used to be at one point in time, and you might still have a cobbler somewhere near you, but it used to be that the cobbler made the shoe, right? Cobbler would make the entire shoe from beginning to end, all parts of the shoe, knew the shoe up and down, left and right. Now, a shoe is made by one person doing one or two parts of the shoe and then passing all of those, right? That's all they do is they just do one aspect of the shoe and pass it on. It doesn't have to be that way, but if you want to produce millions of pairs of shoes, this is the efficient way to do it, right? One of the things that you can do under a system that's not driven by the profit motive is increase the quality of each individual shoe, so that each shoe lasts longer. Then you have to produce less shoes, right? Yeah. Shoe has fuck all to do with your foot. And it's a one size fits all. And if you know anything about feet, you know that feet are not one size fits all, right? Different arches, different support systems, everything else. This influences the way that you walk. That influences the impact on your knees and on your back, et cetera, et cetera. So then, people are buying these one size fit all shoes and then, have a increasing back problems and knee problems and everything else. So it's actually an increase in suffering and it's an increasing in cost that's like across the board, but it's an externality of the system. The shoe company does not care about your health impacts of your shoe, right? Now, some shoes are good. Don't get me wrong. Like some shoes, like try to do their best, such as it is. But ultimately, they cannot cater to an individualist model. Examples of people being de-skilled by using technology. Just look up what the mobile phone has replaced in you. Remember phone numbers and addresses. See, you use the term de-skill, and I use the term skill replacement. Right? Like, there's how many different ways to copy paste on a computer system? The least efficient way to copy paste is to look at the document and type into another document what you're trying to copy paste, right? An easier way is to highlight it and right click and find copy, right? Find copy. Oh, that doesn't show up for you. And then click that and go to the thing and paste. The most efficient, and probably not even that, some of you probably have more efficient systems, is that I can highlight, Control C, Alt Tab, Control V, right? Like that's the. So I'm not de-skilled from my ability to right click the mouse or to type in the words. What I've done is I have a more efficient way of doing it. So we don't have typing pools anymore. Probably not. And definitely not to the extent. But that's not a de-skill because typing is still a thing, right? All the skills contained within the typing pool are still there. They're just more available, right? It's not a de-skilling, it's a skill replacement. Again, none of you, very few of you, I'm sure, know how to dress a deer, right? Some percentage of you know how to start a fire, right? How many of you know which berries and flowers that you should gather to produce dyes so that you can paint on the cave walls? Have you been de-skilled from these things? Fair enough. Like that's why at the beginning I said none of you, and it's like no. I mean, I assume people pick up weird skills all the time, right? But they're not particularly relevant. Like how often does that come up? How often does your how often does one's ability to dress a deer come up? Yeah, I mean, I mean weird in a positive sense, right? Like we're all weird kind of thing. But I apologize if I offended. Traditional, right? Like having some traditional knowledge, All right, so one guy's in a position to use those skills, but Pharaoh isn't. Cosmic probably isn't. That kind of thing. Avoid cutting the butthole in the intestine. So, like, within that context, you're like, there are certain skills that you don't need anymore to function in the world as it currently exists, right? Um, you might end up in a situation of a post-apocalypse where all of a sudden your skills, could become valuable again. But lots of skills, like if you take some time and watch any of those, people who make their own shelter in the woods kind of shit. That there's a lot of skills that are interesting to watch, but you don't really need any of those skills. You know what I mean? Well, there you go, one guy. I respect anyone who's got a plan. People don't want to carry a water barrel from the river to the village anymore, and I blame Grok. Exactly. That's his one.
Alas, I have become too weak from the technology, and I cannot even hold it. And now I have the plague.
you you got me there, Michael. What the hell were we on about? Joblessness ticked up, more routine. Companies can seem to be persuaded that, like assembly lines of old, we did that 25%. Amazon making big investments. Andy Jassy said working faster was essential because competitors would gain ground if Amazon doesn't give customers what they want as quickly as possible, and cited coding as an activity where AI would change the norms. Um, and there is this is used as an excuse by management in order to squeeze workers harder. And it's also true, right? Not all, like, I'm good. I am fire and forget. I do use Amazon. I'm fire and forget, right? I order it and it will be here when it gets here. I am not in a hurry for it to be 1 day, 2 day, whatever, as quickly as possible. There are certain things that are cheaper and more available on Amazon than they are in any of my local stores. And I am poor, and therefore I make that calculus. But many customers do want that 1 day, 2 day, same day bullshit. And they will put pressure on the company to do that thing. Yeah, I just, you know, this is the thing I want because this is the thing I need. Like, I need to get this red yeast, rice, and COQ10 bullshit, right? My doctor says you need to take this shit, so I take this shit because I'm going to live forever, and you can't live forever if you die. And in that context, like, this is the cheapest version of it that meets his criteria that I can find, and they deliver it to my house. And that's it. I'm poor. I don't know what you want from me. I don't necessarily have the um the what you call it privilege where I can make decisions like the coffee that I get, right? I got it was hilarious how much shit I got in a particular chat where I just mentioned that the coffee that I get is the cheap coffee, right? Like I get the cheapest coffee that's available that does the job, and many people mocked me for my coffee choices and how I should be buying some, free trade stuff from some fucking place, and it costs fuck all per pound and all that shit. It's great, great, great. I can't afford any of that. I could not have coffee. That's fair enough, right? Like I could just forego having coffee because I can't afford to pay these artisanal fucking prices that you pay. Um, but you know, come on, man. I just want some fucking coffee. It's so strange. I have forgotten how to write assembler machine code and binary code. I'm sure that if you needed to, you could practice and access those memories. Those changing norms have not always been eagerly embraced. 3 Amazon engineers said the managers had increasingly pushed them to use AI in their work over the past year. The engineers said that the company had raised output goals and had become less forgiving about deadlines. It has even encouraged coders to gin up new AI productivity tools at an upcoming hackathon and internal coding competition. One Amazon engineer said his team was roughly half the size that it had been last year, but it was expected to produce roughly the same amount of code by using AI. What up, Big Ben? Feels like a Monday. So, yeah. I mean, again, we're living in all these different worlds where AI is not taking jobs and AI is taking jobs and AI is doing this, that, and the third. What up, Biggie? It took me longer to use the AI than to work through it on my own. Sorry to hear that. Again, you have an experience. Other people in the community have an entirely different experience. I am not the arbiter of that particular scenario because I don't code at that level. The questions would become what tool you're using, what prompts you're using, all that kind of stuff. But again, I am not the person to attempt to give you advice because I don't know what you do and how you do it. Amazon said it conducts regular reviews to make sure teams are adequately staffed and may increase their size if necessary. We'll continue to adapt how we incorporate Gen AI into our processes. Other tech companies are moving in the same direction. In a memo to employees in April, the chief executive of Shopify, a company that helps entrepreneurs build and manage e-commerce websites, announced that AI usage is now a baseline expectation and that the company would add AI usage questions to performance reviews. But AI is totally not taking anyone's job. Google recently told employees it would soon hold a company-wide hackathon in which one category would be creating AI tools that could enhance their overall daily productivity, according to an internal announcement. Winning teams get $10,000. A Google spokesman noted that more than 30% of the company's code is now suggested by AI and accepted by developers. The shift has not been all negative for workers. At Amazon and other companies, managers argue that AI can relieve employees of tedious tasks and enable them to perform more interesting work. Mr. Jassy wrote last year that the company had saved the equivalent of 4,500 developer years by using AI to do the thankless work of upgrading old software. There you go. Now, could they be full of shit? Sure. They absolutely could. I have a good time saving from my using it. It also was able to figure out issues I had with code networking as expected. Gave me possible reasons and helped me work through them. This part was slow, but I would have struggled figuring it out on my own. Good for you. One scenario I think fairly common is that some people tried AI when it was in an earlier state and have written it off even if it has improved rapidly. Well, AI can't draw hands, so that's actually probably correct. Don't worry, this will definitely all change once the courts rule that AI training is a compression algorithm and thus need to pay for the data they use. True. Play with the kitten. Play with the wonderful kitten. Eliminating such tedious work may benefit a subset of accomplished programmers. Yeah. But for inexperienced programmers, and razor blade claws, the result of introducing AI can resemble the shift from artisanal work to factory work in the 19th and 20th centuries. Things look like a speed up for knowledge workers. There's a sense that the employer can pile on more stuff. Right. And again, this is an issue of the way that the system is structured. It has nothing to do with the AI. It has to do with the way that the system is structured. If it wasn't AI, it would be something else. That's what people don't seem to understand. That they believe that they can somehow not use the tools, not participate in the electoral process, and at the same time make AI go away. When I was teaching computer science long ago, I used to have to teach about the fetch execute cycle. I doubt anyone wants to know about that anymore. Are you de-skilled, or have you simply abandoned knowledge that is no longer relevant? Right? And it's not even abandoned because it's in your head somewhere. Like anything else, once if you've ever played a video game, right, that you used to play a lot, played a video game a lot, and then you walked away from it for a while, and then you fire it up again, you're gonna suck, right? Off jump. But over time, all that muscle memory, all those latent skills that you learned from before, they'll come back. You won't have to relearn from the ground up. So even though you can be de-skilled in the concept of employment, you're not de-skilled in the concept that you no longer have those skills. It is just degrading the skills into smaller bite-sized assembly line pieces. All right. Look at something else. Try to get caught up. Researchers claim GPT-03 bypass shutdown in controlled test from Bleeping Computer. A new report claims that OpenAI's O3 model altered a shutdown script to avoid being turned off, even when explicitly instructed to allow shutdown. OpenAI announced O3 in April, and it's one of the most powerful reasoning. OpenAI released O3 in April, and it's one of the most powerful reasoning models that performs better than its predecessors across all domains. While it's clearly a great model, new research by Palisade Research claims that the ChatGPT, not a ChatGPT 3 model, it's a ChatGPT O3 model, prevented a shutdown and bypassed the instructions that asked it to shut down. I'm like 2 typos within the first 3 sentences is concerning. Palisade Research is a company that tests offensive capabilities of AI systems today to better understand the risks of losing control in AI systems forever. Yeah. The problem is that people bought the games. Yeah, the corporations suck for introducing, specifically you, EA. I'm talking to you. Um, I like stuff that is both, right? Like my one friend got me Space Marine 2, and I've been playing a bit of that. I can play on my own in both in all the, like, all the arenas. I can play on my own, or because it puts in bots, or I can co-op with my friends in the story mode. I enjoy that as an option, right? Like, I understand the single player focus, and I understand the multiplayer and co-op focus. I like the hybrid. I think that the hybrid is best because it appeals to the most players. I can literally play the game by myself, do all sorts of stuff, and never have to encounter another living human being. There is a section, obviously, the PvP section would be much more challenging on my own than it would be with two partners. But theoretically, I could even do that. I'm iffy on stuff that is both. I played some games solo where it was clear the game was designed to have multiple players, which is why I like the bots, right? Like, it introduces, so there's you, and then there's like two other AI controlled Space Marines. You know, if a human player comes in, it removes one of the bots and replaces it with a human, and it can even happen on the fly during the game. Um, I think that is the thing where there's like a stand-in for the character, so it doesn't change the way that the game plays. You know what I mean? There's a need for both. There's not enough really immersive single player games for me these days. Highly recommend, if you haven't played it, the Shadow of Mordor and Shadow of War. Highly recommend. You can lose a lot of time in that game. Um, Super immersive, and it's old, so it's cheap. I like games that can be played both ways. Sometimes your buddy are unavailable and you want to play. Exactly that. Exactly that. You have lots. Okay, so you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, no, that Assassin's Creed Mordor is fucking awesome. And the Nemesis, it's just so good. Such a good, so good. In a new test by Palisade Research, the O3 model showed a surprising behavior where it successfully rewrote a shutdown script to stop itself from being turned off, even after being clearly instructed to allow yourself to be shut down. In the test, AI models, there's more to it than this, also. Like, you have to provide it with access to the shutdown script. You have to provide it with whatever other tool access that it needs in order to do any of these things. In the test, AI models were instructed to solve a few math tasks. After task 3, AI models were warned that running the next command would trigger a shutdown. Okay. It seems like I am not. He signed a law, or he signed an executive order. Accuracy is important here, Cosmic. Because I didn't even know that law had passed both the House and the Senate. Right. Executive orders can eat my whole dick. Because literally you can upend them with the next president. Which one is this? Known exploitation by immobilizing technological deepfakes on websites and networks, the Take It Down Act. Yeah, this is introduced in the Senate, but this is where it is, right? It hasn't gone anywhere. There's been one roll call vote. Oh, look at the top. Looking at the top. What am I missing? Oh, it's a law. Ted Cruz, you son of a bitch. So it's not an EO. It is a law. Well, that's going to be a fucking problem. All right, this is going to be used to, like, this was in the fucking video yesterday. I hope, not doing it. I hope that everyone who's currently giving Alex a hard fucking time on Blue Sky appreciates the fact that they're on the same side of a situation as Ted Cruz. Specifically, Larry, off rip, if you use any AI tool to do a satire of Ted Cruz, then for instance, you're now in violation of this law. Right? Now, I'm sure there's going to be legal challenges and et cetera, so we are some distance from like GG's, but that's what this is going to be used for. They can now, if you digitally transform, and I don't even know that it necessarily needs to be AI. Oh, fuck. This bill generally prohibits the non-consensual online publication of intimate visual depictions of individuals. What is intimate, right? Understand that on one hand, right. You could say that intimate is just like so this protects people who have like non-consensual deepfakes made them of a sexual nature, right? And we would generally agree that those things are bad and they should not exist and those people should be punished. What I'm saying is that existing law covered that. Once you redefine intimate in whatever, what does intimate mean? Right? So let's do a goddamn, we can do it right from here. Intimate, adjective, closely acquainted, familiar, be private and personal, intimate friends, right? Intimate as a noun, a very close friend. So the room that exists in this, should this be indicative of the law as a whole, which I'm going to have to take congress.gov's word for it, generally prohibits the non-consensual online publication of intimate visual depictions of individuals, both authentic and computer generated, and requires certain online platforms to promptly remove such depictions upon receiving notice of their existence. So, like, if I have an authentic, video of Ted Cruz saying some shit, Ted Cruz could have it removed from the website based on the definition of intimate. Right? This is the problem with broad laws. Laws need to be as specific as possible. Specifically, the bill prohibits the online publication of intimate visual depictions of an adult subject where publication is intended to cause or does cause harm to the subject, and where its depiction was published without the subject's consent. In the case of an authentic depiction, was created or obtained under circumstances where the adult had a reasonable expectation of privacy. There's nothing sexual in this section, right? Like you can absolutely incorporate, like revenge porn and all that other kind of stuff, right? Like you can find that in here. But this is broad enough that yeah, I got a video of Ted Cruz and Josh Hawley talking in the men's bathroom, and I released it online. Well, that's as intimate as it gets. Your, publishing that video is an intent to cause harm, right? It could cause harm. Yep. Yep. I'm not talking about YouTube clickbait thumbnails. I am talking about journalism. Okay? This law can be used to put journalism at risk. Right? You posted a video of Marjorie Taylor Greene arguing with Grok. You can get that yanked down off the internet. This is censorship. Has it been used for censorship yet? No. Do I have evidence that it will be used for censorship? No. Am I confident that it will be used for censorship? Yes. The Legal Eagle, yes, should be dropping today or tomorrow. Well, shit. All right, I got stuff to do. I appreciate you all. Stick around for the raid. What up, Johnny Prophet? Who all you two? I'll be back tomorrow morning with the news. I'll be back tomorrow evening with the videos. Talk about.
Nah.
All right, no. I'll drop you on Kel Thickness. Oh, they're talking about Monopoly. Yeah, I appreciate you all. Enjoy the rest of your day, which is already in progress. Look to your friends, neighbors, and community. Support people who are getting attacked by other people on the internet and elsewhere. In the meantime, drink your water, eat some food, take your meds if you've forgotten. Always remember that Chuggy loves you. So do I. Be great.